The stars looked different through the main window of the UES horizon, as Captain Jake Morrison watched space bend around them. Dr. Elena Martinez had done something that most people said was impossible. She had built a machine that could make ships jump faster than light itself. The Quinn drive hummed quietly behind the bridge walls, and Jake felt proud to be the first human to use it. "Jump complete, Captain," said Lisa Harper from her science station. She was the smartest person Jake had ever met, and if she said the jump worked, then it did. "We are now in the Kepler system, about 20 light years from Earth." Jake smiled and looked at his crew. Ryan Blake sat at the security station checking weapons that Jake hoped they would never need. Amy Chen worked at the engineering panel, making sure all systems ran smooth. These were good people, and Jake trusted them with his life. "Take us toward the planet, Lisa," Jake said. "Let's see what we can find out here." The ship moved through space toward a blue and green world that looked almost like Earth. Jake thought about how this moment would change everything for humans. They were no longer stuck in one solar system. They could go anywhere now. Then the alarm started ringing. "Captain, we have contacts," Ryan said, and his voice was tight. "Multiple ships coming our way fast." Jake felt his heart speed up but kept his voice calm. "How many, Ryan?" 12 ships, sir, and they are big," Ryan said. "Much bigger than us." Lisa worked fast at her station. "Captain, I am getting energy readings unlike anything in our databases. These ships use technology we have never seen before." The main screen changed to show the space around them. Jake saw sleek ships that looked like they were made from liquid metal. They moved in perfect formation and surrounded the horizon in seconds. Jake had been in space battles before, but never against ships like these. "Open a communication channel," Jake said. The screen flickered and showed a face that was not human. The alien had blue skin and large dark eyes. It wore what looked like a military uniform covered in symbols Jake did not understand. When it spoke, the voice was deep and sounded amused. "Small ship from the young species," the alien said. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian fleet. You have entered space that belongs to us." Jake stood up straight. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Horizon. We come in peace and mean no harm to anyone." Admiral Kethvar laughed, and the sound made Jake angry. "Earth? We have never heard of this place. Your ship looks like something our children might build as a toy," Lisa whispered to Jake. "Captain, I am scanning their ships. The technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours." Jake nodded but did not take his eyes off the alien admiral. "We are explorers, Admiral. This is our first time leaving our home system." "First time?" Admiral Kethvar laughed again. "How amusing. Most species take thousands of years to develop space travel, and you look like you just learned to make fire." Amy spoke quietly from her station. "Captain, their weapons are charging." Jake felt sweat on his face but kept his voice steady. "Admiral, we do not want any trouble. We can leave if you want us to." "Oh, you will leave, little human," Admiral Kethvar said. "But first we must see what your primitive ship can teach us about your species." The horizon shook as invisible beams scanned every part of it. Jake watched his crew work to keep systems running while the aliens studied them like insects under glass. "Interesting," Admiral Kethvar said after several minutes. "You use chemical rockets and basic fusion power. Your weapons are simple projectile systems. Your computers work slower than our personal devices." Jake clenched his fists. "We may not have your technology, but we learn fast." "Learn fast?" The Admiral seemed to find this very funny. "Young species always think they are special. We Zephyrians have ruled this part of space for 10,000 years. We have seen many species like yours come and go," Ryan whispered to Jake. "Captain, we could try to fight." Jake shook his head slightly. One human ship against 12 alien warships was not a fight. It was suicide. "Your ship interests me, human," Admiral Kethvar said. "It should not be able to travel between stars, yet here you are."
"How did you manage this impossible thing?"
Jake looked at Elena, who shook her head. "They could not give away the secret of the Quinn drive." "We worked together," Jake said. "All humans helped make this happen." "Work together?" Admiral Kethvar seemed confused by this idea. "Primitive species usually fight among themselves until they destroy their worlds." "Humans are different," Jake said, and meant it. The Admiral stared at Jake for a long moment. "Perhaps you are amusing enough to live. I will allow your small ship to return to your little world. Do not come back to the system again." "Thank you, Admiral," Jake said, though the words tasted bitter. "Do not thank me, human. I spare you like one spares an interesting pet. Tell your people that the galaxy belongs to those with power. You have none." The communication ended and the alien ships moved away like ghosts in the night. Jake stood on the bridge watching them disappear and felt something burning in his chest. "Lisa, did you record everything?" Jake asked. "Every detail, Captain," Lisa said. "I have complete scans of their ships and technology." "Good," Jake said. "Amy, how is our drive?" "Ready for jump, Captain," Amy said. "Take us home," Jake said. "We have work to do." As the Horizon jumped back toward Earth, Jake thought about Admiral Kethvar's words. The galaxy belonged to those with power. Maybe that was true, but Jake had learned something important today. Power was not just about big ships and fancy weapons. Sometimes power came from working together and never giving up. The stars looked different now as they traveled home. They no longer seemed friendly and welcoming. They seemed full of challenges that humans would have to face. But Jake was not afraid anymore. Humans had surprised themselves by reaching the stars. Maybe they could surprise the galaxy too. The news hit Earth like a lightning bolt. President Maria Santos sat in the emergency meeting room, deep under the White House, and felt the weight of the entire world on her shoulders. Around the table sat the most important people on the planet, and they all looked scared. "Let me understand this correctly, Captain Morrison," President Santos said. "We are not alone, and the aliens think we are primitive pets." Jake Morrison stood at attention even though his body felt tired from the long trip home. "That is correct, Madam President. Admiral Kethvar made it very clear that humans mean nothing to them." General Patricia Stone hit the table with her fist. "This is exactly what I warned about. We rushed into space without proper weapons or defenses." "What would you have us do, Patricia?" asked Charles Rivers, the chief diplomat. "Build weapons to fight aliens we knew nothing about?" "Yes," General Stone said. "That is exactly what I would do." President Santos raised her hand for quiet. "Dr. Martinez, please explain how they found us so easily." Elena Martinez looked nervous as she spoke. "Madam President, the Quinn Drive creates energy patterns that can be detected across star systems. Any species with advanced sensors would notice us immediately. So we cannot hide," General Stone said. "No, General, we cannot hide," Elena said. Lisa Harper stepped forward. "Madam President, I have something that might help. During our encounter, I was able to scan the Zephyrian ships completely." "What did you find, Dr. Harper?" President Santos asked. Lisa activated a holographic display that showed the alien ship designs. "Their technology is very advanced, but it follows patterns. They build everything the same way and use the same basic principles for all their systems." "What does that mean?" Charles Rivers asked. "It means they think in straight lines," Lisa said. "They do what has always worked for them. They do not try new ideas." Elena Martinez stood up suddenly. "Lisa is right. I saw the same thing in their engine designs. They use pure energy systems that are very powerful but also very predictable." General Stone leaned forward. "Can we use this against them?" "Maybe," Elena said. "Human technology is different. We mix different ideas together. We try things that should not work." President Santos felt something like hope starting to grow. "What do you need to make this happen?" "Time and resources," Elena said. "I need to work with the best minds on Earth." Over the next few months, the entire planet changed. President Santos created the Global Defense Initiative that brought together scientists from every country. Dr. Kevin Walsh from Germany worked next to Rebecca Turner from Japan. Brilliant minds that had never met before started sharing ideas. Elena Martinez led the main research team in a secret facility under the Rocky Mountains. They took apart every piece of Zephyrian technology that Lisa had recorded and learned how it worked. Then they did something the aliens would never expect. They made it better. "Look at this," Kevin Walsh said one day as he showed Elena a new design. "The Zephyrians use pure energy for everything, but what if we mixed energy with matter?" Elena studied the plans. "It should not work, Kevin. The systems are completely different." "That is what makes it perfect," Rebecca Turner said from across the room. "They will never see it coming." While the scientists worked, Jake Morrison trained new crews for deep space missions. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Parker was the best pilot Jake had ever seen. He could fly through asteroid fields like they were empty space. "The key is not thinking about it," Steve told the other pilots. "Trust your instincts and react faster than computers can calculate." Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell nodded as she practiced combat maneuvers. "These aliens think we are predictable. Let's show them how wrong they are." Dr. Harper made the most important discovery of all while working with captured alien technology. She found that human brains worked differently than alien minds. Humans could connect to multiple alien systems at the same time, while aliens could only use their own technology. It makes no sense, Harper told Elena during one of their late-night research sessions. Our brains should not be able to handle alien interfaces, but they adapt automatically. Maybe that is our advantage, Elena said. We adapt and they do not. Meanwhile, Jake Morrison led secret scouting missions to learn about other alien species. They found the Rigelian hegemony that controlled dozens of star systems through military force. General Thakmore commanded their fleets with iron discipline and showed no mercy to enemies. They also discovered the Androian Trade Federation that focused on business and profit. Fleet Master Vexilon controlled trade routes across the galaxy and cared only about making deals that helped his people. Each alien species Jake encountered had the same attitude toward humans. They saw Earth as a small, unimportant world full of primitive creatures. None of them paid attention to what humans were really doing. They underestimate us, Jake told Elena after returning from another scouting mission. Every single one of them thinks we are harmless. Good, Elena said. Let them keep thinking that. The work continued in secret facilities around Earth. Paul Garcia led engineering teams that built hybrid technology using human and alien designs. Lisa Chang commanded test flights of new ships that combined the best of both worlds. The new ships are incredible, Lisa told Jake after her latest test flight. They respond like living things and can adapt to any situation. Greg Thompson tested new weapon systems that mixed human creativity with alien power. The weapons work in ways that should be impossible, Captain. We can change energy types during battle. Dr. Ben Carter and Dr. Rachel Adams worked on defensive systems that could protect Earth from alien attack. The shields adjust automatically to any threat, Ben explained. They learn from each attack and get stronger. President Santos visited the research facilities regularly to check on progress. She walked through laboratories where humans and alien technology work together in harmony. How much longer do we need? She asked Elena during one visit. 6 more months, Madam President, Elena said. Then we will be ready for anything. Ready for what exactly? President Santos asked. Elena smiled for the first time in months. Ready to surprise the galaxy. As the months passed, humans built a secret fleet of advanced ships. The UES Vanguard and UES Phoenix were the first ships designed from the ground up, using hybrid technology. They looked like no ships anyone had ever seen before. Captain Nicole Brooks commanded the Vanguard and felt amazed every time she sat in the captain's chair. These ships are alive, she told Captain Tony Rodriguez, who commanded the Phoenix. They respond to our thoughts, Tony agreed. It is like they want to help us succeed. The final test came when Jake Morrison took a small fleet on a training mission to the edge of human space. They encountered a Zephyrian patrol ship that scanned them with the same dismissive attitude as before. Unknown human vessel, the Zephyrian captain said. You were warned not to leave your system. We are conducting training exercises in our own space, Jake replied calmly. The Zephyrian captain laughed. Your toys have improved slightly, but they are still primitive. Jake smiled as he watched his crew work. The alien scans could not penetrate their new shields or understand their hybrid technology. To the Zephyrians, they still looked like harmless primitives. Understood, Jake said. We will stay in our area. The Zephyrian ship left without realizing it had just scanned the most advanced vessels in the galaxy. Jake felt proud of what humans had accomplished in such a short time. Back on Earth, President Santos met with her advisors to discuss the future. Are we ready for whatever comes next? She asked. General Stone nodded. Our defenses are stronger than any alien species realizes. Charles Rivers looked worried. But what if they decide we are a threat? Then they will learn something about humans they do not expect, Elena Martinez said quietly. President Santos looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere out there, alien species continued their ancient games of power and control. They had no idea that everything was about to change. The emergency alert came from deep space and traveled faster than any ship could fly. Admiral Kethawar received the message on his flagship and felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Fear. Report. He commanded his bridge crew as alarms filled the air. Admiral, the monitoring stations at Sector 7 have gone silent, his communications officer said. All 15 stations stopped transmitting at the same time. Kethvar stood up from his command chair. In 10,000 years of Zephyrian history, no enemy had ever destroyed 15 military stations simultaneously. Send a scout ship to investigate. Already dispatched, Admiral, his tactical officer replied. The ship should reach Sector 7 in 4 hours. 4 hours felt like 4 days as Kethvar waited for news. When the scout ship's message finally arrived, it contained only 3 words before cutting off. The swarm returns. Across the galaxy, similar messages reached every major species. General Thakmor of the Rigelian hegemony watched his border systems disappear from the communication grid one by one. Fleetmaster Vexilon saw Androian trade routes go dark as something consumed entire star systems. The ancient records spoke of the Void Swarm, but most leaders thought they were myths. Stories told to frighten children about machines that ate planets and turned matter into more machines. Now those myths were destroying civilizations. How is this possible? General Thakmor asked his science advisors. The Void Swarm was destroyed millions of years ago. Apparently not, sir, his chief scientist replied. The energy signatures match historical records perfectly. On Earth, President Santos received urgent communications from all 3 alien species within hours of each other. For 5 years, they had ignored humanity completely. Now they needed help. Madam President, we have Admiral Kethvar requesting immediate communication, her aide announced. Maria. Santos sat in the situation room with her top advisors and activated the holographic display. The proud Zephyrian admiral looked very different than he had 5 years ago. His blue skin seemed pale and his large eyes showed worry. Human leader, Kethvar said without his usual arrogance. We require assistance with a mutual threat. What kind of threat, Admiral? President Santos asked calmly. Ancient machines have awakened from the galactic core, Kethvar explained. They consume everything in their path and adapt to our weapons instantly. General Stone leaned forward. What makes you think we can help with something your advanced technology cannot handle? Kethvar hesitated before answering. Your species thinks differently than ours. Perhaps you can find solutions we cannot see. Similar conversations took place with General Thakmor and Fleetmaster Vexilon. All 3 species swallowed their pride and asked for human help against an enemy they could not defeat. Elena Martinez studied the data the aliens provided and felt her blood turn cold. The Void Swarm is unlike anything we have ever seen. They are machines, but they learn and adapt like living creatures. How do we fight something like that? Jake Morrison asked. I do not know yet, Elena admitted. But we have something the aliens do not. What is that? President Santos asked. We have unpredictability, Elena said. The swarm adapts to logical patterns, but human thinking is often illogical. Admiral Morrison assembled a human task force that included the most advanced ships in the fleet. Captain Nicole Brooks commanded the UES Vanguard, while Captain Tony Rodriguez led the UES Phoenix. Both ships represented the best of human and alien technology working together. The human fleet jumped to the crisis zone and found chaos beyond imagination. Debris from destroyed alien ships floated everywhere. Planets that had supported billions of lives were now empty rocks stripped of all matter. My God, Nicole Brooks whispered as she saw the destruction. How many people died here? Too many, Tony Rodriguez replied grimly. The combined alien fleets numbered in the thousands, but they looked defeated already. Proud Zephyrian ships that had ruled space for millennia now fled from enemies they could not understand. Human ships, this is Admiral Kethvar, came the communication. Report to the command vessel immediately. Jake Morrison took a shuttle to the Zephyrian flagship and found himself in a meeting with the most powerful military leaders in the galaxy. Admiral Kethvar looked exhausted. General Thakmor's usually perfect uniform was wrinkled and stained. Fleet Master Vexilon counted losses on a datapad with shaking hands. Admiral Morrison, Kethvar said. Thank you for coming, though I fear it may be too late. What exactly are we facing? Jake asked. General Thakmor activated a holographic display showing the enemy. The Void Swarm ships looked like geometric nightmares made of black metal and energy. They moved in perfect coordination and consumed everything they touched. They appeared 6 days ago, General Thakmor explained. At first, we thought it was a normal invasion. We attacked with standard formations. What happened? Jake asked. They adapted to our weapons within minutes, Fleetmaster Vexilon said bitterly. Energy beams that destroyed their ships the first time became useless after the third shot. They learn from every attack, Kethvar added. Each battle makes them stronger while making us weaker. Jake studied the tactical displays. How many ships do they have? We estimate 50,000 and growing, General Thakmor said. They convert destroyed ships into new swarm units. Every ship we lose becomes 2 enemy ships, Fleetmaster Vexilon explained. Jake felt the weight of the situation, but did not let it show. What makes you think humans can help? Admiral Kethvar looked embarrassed. 5 years ago I called your people primitive. I was wrong. Your technology should not work, but it does. Your tactics make no sense, but they succeed. The swarm expects logical responses. General Thakmore added. Perhaps illogical humans can confuse them. Dr. Harper arrived with the human science team and immediately began analyzing swarm data. She worked with Dr. Martinez and their combined knowledge of human and alien technology. The swarm's learning algorithms are incredibly advanced, Lisa said after hours of study. But they have one weakness. What weakness? Fleetmaster Vexilon asked desperately. They expect their enemies to be consistent, Elena explained. Each species fights the same way every time. Zephyrians use energy weapons. Rigelians use kinetic weapons. Androians use defensive formations. What do humans use? Admiral Kethvar asked. Jake smiled grimly. We use everything and change constantly. The next day brought the largest space battle in galactic history. The Void Swarm attacked with overwhelming force while the combined fleet tried to hold the line at a system called Celestial Gate. All ships prepare for engagement. Admiral Kethvar commanded from his flagship. Jake Morrison coordinated the human ships from the UES Vanguard Bridge. Remember, everyone, we are here to do what no one expects. The battle began with traditional alien tactics. Zephyrian energy beams lit up space while Rigelian kinetic weapons fired metal projectiles at incredible speeds. For exactly 7 minutes, the attacks worked perfectly. Then the swarm adapted. Energy beams that had destroyed swarm ships suddenly deflected harmlessly. Kinetic weapons that had punched through enemy hulls bounced off like toys. In minutes, thousands of alien ships became helpless targets. Admiral Morrison, came Kethvar's desperate voice. We need human intervention now. Jake nodded to his crew. All human ships implement Chaos Protocol. Show them what unpredictable really means. The human ships suddenly changed their entire fighting style. Instead of using pure energy or pure kinetic weapons, they mixed both randomly. They fired Zephyrian energy beams followed, immediately by Rigelian metal projectiles powered by Androian shield generators. The swarm tried to adapt, but could not understand the pattern. Because there was no pattern, human ships changed tactics every few seconds using combinations that should have been impossible. Their adaptation rate is slowing, Dr. Harper reported. The swarm cannot learn from inconsistent data, but the battle was far from over. The swarm had too many ships and the combined fleet was running out of ammunition and energy. Just when victory seemed possible, everything started falling apart. Admiral, we are losing ships faster than we can replace them, Captain Brooks reported. Jake watched the tactical display and saw the horrible truth. They were fighting the symptoms but not the disease. Somewhere in the swarm was a central intelligence coordinating everything. Lisa, we need to find their command center, Jake said. Already working on it, Dr. Harper replied. But their signals are encrypted beyond anything we have seen. As the battle raged around Celestial Gate, Jake realized that conventional tactics would never work. The galaxy needed something completely different, something only humans could provide. All ships fall back to defensive positions, Jake commanded. We need a new plan. The retreat felt like defeat, but Jake Morrison had a plan forming in his mind. As the combined fleet pulled back from Celestial Gate, the Void Swarm pressed their advantage and moved deeper into inhabited space. Admiral Morrison, this retreat will cost us 3 more star systems, General Thakmore said over the communication channel. His voice carried the weight of billions of lives. I understand, General, Jake replied, but we cannot win by fighting the way they expect us to fight. Admiral Kethvar's image appeared on the main screen. What do you propose, human? We have tried everything our civilizations know. That is exactly the problem, Jake said. You tried everything your civilizations know. You have not tried what humans know. Fleetmaster Vexilon joined the conversation from his flagship. Explain what you mean, Admiral Morrison. Jake activated his tactical display and showed the galaxy map. For thousands of years, your species have fought wars the same way. You build bigger ships and more powerful weapons. You follow military doctrines that worked in the past. Those doctrines built our empires, General Thakmore said proudly. Yes, they did, Jake agreed. But the Void Swarm was designed to fight empires that think in straight lines. Dr. Elena Martinez appeared on the screen from the human research ship. Admiral Morrison is correct. The swarm's learning algorithms expect logical military responses. They cannot adapt to complete chaos. What kind of chaos? Admiral Kethvar asked. Elena smiled grimly. Human chaos. Over the next 12 hours, the human fleet implemented the most insane plan in military history. Dr. Paul Garcia led engineering teams that rebuilt weapon systems using parts from all 3 alien technologies. They created hybrid weapons that should not have worked but somehow did. Look at this, Paul said as he showed Jake the new weapon designs. We are mixing Zephyrian energy matrices with Rigelian kinetic accelerators and Androian shield harmonics. That should create a feedback loop that destroys the weapon, Admiral Kethvar said when he saw the plans. It should, Paul agreed. But human engineering does not always follow physics the way it should. While engineers worked on impossible weapons, Lieutenant Commander Lisa Chang trained pilots on tactics that defied all military logic. Instead of maintaining formation and following orders, pilots would act independently and change strategies every few minutes. Forget everything you learned in flight school, Lisa told the mixed human and alien pilots. We are going to fight like space pirates, not military officers. Captain Greg Thompson tested the new hybrid weapons and found they worked in ways that amazed everyone. The weapons actually get more powerful when they should be overloading, he reported. Human intuition is somehow making alien technology work better. Dr. Ben Carter and Dr. Rachel Adams developed new shield systems that adapted faster than the swarm could learn. The shields use human neural patterns to predict attacks, Ben explained. They think like humans instead of like computers. The breakthrough came when Dr. Harper discovered something incredible about the swarm's central intelligence. The command ships are not just coordinating the attack, she told Jake. They are learning from every battle and sharing that knowledge instantly. What does that mean? Jake asked. It means if we can confuse the command ships, we can confuse the entire swarm, Lisa said excitedly. Elena Martinez studied the data and nodded. The swarm thinks like one giant computer. If we can overload their learning algorithms with impossible data, they might crash. Jake felt pieces of the plan clicking into place. How do we overload a computer that can adapt to anything? We feed it contradictory information, Elena said. We make it think that the same attack both works and does not work at the same time. The second battle of Celestial Gate began 3 days later. The Void Swarm had grown stronger and now numbered over 100,000 ships. They expected another conventional battle that they could adapt to and win. Instead, they got human madness. All ships begin Chaos Protocol 7. Jake commanded from the bridge of the UES Vanguard. The human fleet attacked using weapons that changed energy types randomly during each shot. Zephyrian energy beams became Rigelian kinetic rounds became Androian plasma bolts all in the same weapon burst. Impossible, Admiral Kethvar whispered as he watched human ships fire impossible weapons that worked perfectly. The swarm tried to adapt, but could not understand what they were adapting to. Their learning algorithms crashed when they tried to process attacks that violated basic physics. Swarm adaptation rate dropping to 0, Dr. Harper reported. They cannot learn from data that makes no sense. But the real surprise came when the human pilots began their assault. Lisa Chang led a squadron of fighters in an attack pattern that looked like complete chaos, but somehow worked perfectly. Follow my lead and do not think about what you are doing, Lisa told her pilots over the communication channel. The human fighters flew through the swarm formation like they were dancing instead of fighting. They changed direction, randomly used asteroids as shields, and fired weapons in patterns that looked insane but devastated the enemy. Captain Brooks commanded the UES Vanguard, in a battle style that amazed everyone watching. We are not following any tactical doctrine, she reported to Jake. We are making it up as we go. Perfect, Jake replied. Keep doing things that should not work. Captain Rodriguez took the UES Phoenix into the heart of the swarm formation and began using the enemy's own ships as weapons. He pushed damaged swarm vessels into healthy ones and used exploding enemy ships to clear paths for his weapons. This is either brilliant or insane, Tony said as he flew his ship through an explosion he had just created. With humans, it is usually both, Jake replied. The tide of battle turned when Dr. Martinez activated her secret weapon. She had built devices that could project human thought patterns directly into the swarm's communication network. uploading human chaos directly into their systems, Elena reported. Let's see how they handle pure human creativity. The effect was immediate and devastating. Swarm ships began acting erratically as their collective intelligence tried to process human thoughts that made no logical sense. Some ships flew in circles while others attacked their own allies. The swarm is experiencing what humans call confusion, Dr. Harper explained to the amazed alien commanders. Their perfect coordination is breaking down. General Thakmor watched human ships use tactics that his military academies taught were impossible. How are they making their shields stronger by overloading them? Human engineering, Admiral Kethvar said with something like respect. They do things that should not work but somehow do. The decisive moment came when Jake Morrison led a direct assault on the swarm command ships. These massive vessels had coordinated the entire invasion, but they were not prepared for a human attack. All ships target the command cluster, Jake ordered. Hit them with everything we have and then hit them with things we do not have. The human fleet unleashed weapons that existed somewhere between science and magic. Energy beams that became solid matter, kinetic weapons that exploded into pure energy, shield generators that somehow turned into offensive weapons. This is impossible. The swarm's collective intelligence transmitted for the first time in the battle. These weapons cannot exist. Welcome to humanity, Jake replied as he fired a weapon that was somehow both an energy beam and a kinetic projectile at the same time. The swarm command ships tried to adapt, but human technology refused to follow any pattern they could understand. Within minutes, the massive vessels began shutting down as their learning algorithms crashed completely. Command ships are offline, Dr. Harper reported. The swarm is losing coordination. Without their central intelligence, the Void Swarm became just a collection of individual ships. The coordinated threat that had terrorized the galaxy suddenly became manageable. All Allied ships advance, Admiral Kethvar commanded. Press the attack while they are confused. The combined fleet moved forward using conventional tactics against an enemy that could no longer adapt fast enough to counter them. What had been an impossible battle became a conventional victory. Swarm forces retreating toward the Galactic Rim, Captain Brooks reported. Looks like they are heading back where they came from. Jake watched the tactical display as thousands of enemy ships fled the battlefield. Let them go. They learned something today about fighting humans. As the battle ended, Jake received communications from all three alien commanders. Their voices carried a mixture of gratitude and amazement. Admiral Morrison, General Thakmor said, I have fought wars for 3 centuries, but I have never seen anything like what your people did today. Humans do not fight wars, Jake replied. We solve problems. Admiral Kethavar's image showed respect that had not been there 5 years ago. I owe you an apology, Admiral. I called your people primitive when in fact you are the most advanced species any of us have encountered. We are not advanced, Jake said honestly. We are just different. The galaxy was safe, but everything had changed. Humans had proven that being different was sometimes more valuable than being powerful. The meeting took place on a neutral world called Haven Prime, where no single species held power. President Maria Santos walked into the Great Hall and felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Representatives from across the galaxy had come to witness something that had never happened before. Admiral Kethvar stood as Maria entered and bowed deeply. President Santos, on behalf of the Zephyrian people, I formally apologize for our treatment of humanity. We were wrong to dismiss your species as primitive. General, Thakmor stepped forward and removed his military decorations, placing them on the table before Maria. The Rigelian hegemony offers these symbols of our military pride to the humans who saved our civilization. Fleet Master Vexilon opened a case, filled with precious metals and gems. The Androian Trade Federation offers our most valuable treasures as payment for the debt we can never fully repay. Maria looked at the 3 alien leaders and felt both sadness and hope. We do not need your apologies or your treasures. What we need is to work together so this never happens again. What do you propose? Admiral Kethvar asked. Maria activated a holographic display showing her vision for the future. We propose the creation of a galactic council where all species have equal voices regardless of age or power. The idea shocked the alien representatives. For thousands of years, the galaxy had been ruled by the strongest species. The Zephyrians controlled through technology. The Rigelians ruled through military might. The Androians dominated through economic power. Equal representation? General Thakmor asked. even for species that have barely achieved spaceflight? Especially for those species, Maria replied. Today's primitive species might have tomorrow's solutions. Over the following weeks, delegates from hundreds of worlds arrived at Haven Prime. Each species brought their own ideas about how the galaxy should be governed. The crystalline collective thought in patterns humans could barely understand. The gaseous minds communicated through chemical reactions. The silicon builders created art with living metal. Dr. Elena Martinez led the technical committee that would establish the Council's operating procedures. She worked with brilliant minds from every corner of the galaxy to create systems that could handle incredible diversity. The challenge is not just language, Elena explained to Maria during one of their planning sessions. Some species think in mathematical concepts while others communicate through color patterns. Can we make it work? Maria asked. With human adaptability and alien knowledge, I think we can, Elena said confidently. Ambassador Claire Davis became humanity's first representative to the Galactic Council. She had spent her career studying alien cultures and languages, but nothing had prepared her for the complexity of governing a galaxy. The Zephyrians want everything documented, in precise technical specifications, Claire told Maria during a video call. The Rigelians prefer simple direct orders. The Androians need detailed cost-benefit analyses for every decision. What do humans prefer? Maria asked with a smile. We prefer whatever works, Claire replied. The first major test came when the Council had to decide how to prevent another crisis like the Void Swarm. Each species had different ideas based on their own military traditions. Admiral Kethavar proposed a massive early warning system using Zephyrian sensor technology. We must detect threats before they can organize. General Thakmor wanted a combined military force with standardized weapons and tactics. Unity of command prevents confusion in battle. Fleetmaster Vexilon suggested economic incentives to encourage species to report unusual activities. Information flows best when people profit from sharing it. Jake Morrison had been promoted to Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense Forces and offered a different approach. We need all three ideas working together, plus things we have not thought of yet. The solution they developed reflected human thinking. Instead of choosing one approach, they combined elements from every proposal and added completely new ideas that no single species would have considered. Dr. Frank Miller led the research initiative that brought together scientists from across the galaxy. Human adaptability helped alien researchers share knowledge that had been locked in cultural barriers for millennia. The Crystalline Collective has mathematics that could revolutionize our understanding of space, Frank told Elena during one research meeting. But they express it through crystal formations that other species cannot read. What if we teach humans to read crystal math and then translate it for everyone else? Elena suggested. The Galactic Research Institute became a symbol of the new cooperation. Director Kate Johnson managed research teams where humans worked alongside aliens whose biology defied comprehension. Projects that should have been impossible became routine achievements. Dr. Alan Foster developed new communication systems that let gaseous beings talk directly to silicon-based life forms. Dr. Monica Lee created universal translators that worked with species who communicated through electromagnetic fields. The real test of the new system came when an unknown alien species arrived at the edge of galactic space. The Phantom Fleet appeared without warning and refused all attempts at communication. Unknown vessels, you have entered Galactic Council space, Admiral Morrison transmitted from his flagship. Please identify yourselves and state your intentions. The response came as a data burst that crashed most alien computer systems. Only human systems adapted quickly enough to decode the message. We are the Eternal Watchers, the message said. We have observed this galaxy for 1 million years. We come to judge whether you deserve to continue existing. In the old days, each species would have responded according to their own traditions. The Zephyrians would have tried to out-technology the visitors. The Rigelians would have prepared for war. The Androians would have attempted to negotiate trade agreements. Instead, the Galactic Council did something unexpected. They responded as one unified voice with a message crafted by humans who understood that diversity was strength. Welcome, Eternal Watchers, the Council replied. We are a young civilization learning to work together. We invite you to observe our progress and share your wisdom if you choose. The Phantom Fleet remained at the galaxy's edge for several months, studying the new Galactic Council. They watched human ships working alongside former enemies. They observed research stations where impossible species collaborated on projects none could complete alone. Interesting, the Eternal Watchers finally transmitted. In 1 million years of observation, we have never seen a galaxy choose cooperation over dominance. It was not easy, Ambassador Davis replied honestly. We still make mistakes and argue about many things. Yet you continue to work together despite your differences, the Watchers observed. Most species destroy themselves when they reach your level of technology. Humans taught us something important, Admiral Kethvar added. Being different is not weakness if you use it correctly. The Eternal Watchers departed with a final message. You have passed our test, young galaxy. We will continue watching, but with hope instead of judgment. Years passed, and the Galactic Council grew stronger. Captain Nicole Brooks commanded the UES Unity with a crew representing dozens of species. Her bridge officers included a Zephyrian science officer, a Rigelian tactical officer, and an Androian communications specialist. Setting course for the Vega system, her human pilot announced. Sensor, sweep shows no threats. The Zephyrian science officer reported. Weapons standing by just in case. The Rigelian tactical officer added. Trade. Routes confirm peaceful intentions, the Androian communications officer noted. Nicole smiled as she watched her. Diverse crew worked together like a perfect machine. Sometimes I think we humans did not save the galaxy. We just showed everyone else how to save themselves. The transformation was not complete and might never be. Species still argued and competed. Economic disputes arose between systems. Cultural differences sometimes led to misunderstandings that required careful diplomacy. But something fundamental had changed. The galaxy no longer belonged to the strongest or oldest species. It belonged to everyone working together to build something better than any of them could create alone. President Santos stood in her office years later looking up at stars that no longer seemed threatening. The night sky now represented opportunity instead of danger. Humanity had found its place among the stars not through conquest but through cooperation. Madam President, we have a transmission from the Galactic Council, her aide announced, and the holographic display showed Ambassador Davis speaking from the council chambers on Haven Prime. Madam President, the council has voted unanimously to establish the Santos Institute for Galactic Peace. Maria felt tears in her eyes. That is a great honor, Ambassador. The honor belongs to all humanity, Claire replied. We showed the galaxy that being different was not something to fear but something to celebrate. As Maria ended the transmission, she thought about the journey that had brought them here. 5 years ago, Admiral Kethvar had called humans primitive pets. Today, those same humans led a galactic civilization that valued every species' contribution. The future was uncertain, as it always was. New challenges would arise that would test the Council's unity. Unknown threats might emerge from the void between galaxies. Young species would need guidance as they took their first steps into space.